So stay home, brother. Just gonna bring you in on this Throwback Thursday with a little music. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out from here during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox and 4 Pops without commercial interruption. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading the charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Shaker of War Theater and will not star that Steve McQueen. All right, we like to say welcome to the Throwback Thursdays. I figured, you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to start throwing a little music in there just to take it back to the throwback music to let you know today on our Thursday throwback, April 16th, 2020, that the revolution will not be televised. Hope you all out there are having a great day, staying safe, practicing social distancing. I'm gonna get that word right real soon. I'm gonna get it real soon. You know, a little different look today. I'm just trying to change up, keeping everything real positive because I like to, definitely speak on the thing that I'm going to talk about. And so you see today on the title, it says an idle mind is the devil's playground or workshop. Now, let me explain to people because, I've been doing this. I didn't realize I've been doing this for about 9 weeks now. And so let me explain to people what the whole purpose of this Throwback Thursday is. It's not to instill any of my views on people's beliefs or what your foundation of learning is. All it is that there were a lot of things that were said to me and other people by their grandparents, by their parents when we grew up, that when you look at it now, it is hysterical or it finally makes sense. And so what I do is when I pick a topic, I write down all the topics. And when I pick a topic, what I do is I usually go to the people who are older than me, and I sort of ask them, what did that really mean? Did you hear that growing up also? What did it really mean? And so when we talk about the devil, idle time is the devil's playground, it really means that, and old people used to say that if you sit around and don't do anything, then it's an opportunity for negative things to happen to you. It's an opportunity for people to take advantage of you. It's an opportunity for you to be led to go wherever there is for you to go. May it be wrong, may it be right, but the idle time is the devil's playground. And so we have to take it from the perspective that a lot of people who were speaking about this were really focused on the religious thing. And a lot of people who I grew up around also spoke about it from the perspective of God versus the devil. Now, whatever you believe in is your belief. Whatever you don't believe in is your belief. The outcomes for which you define your success are based on your foundation of learning, your foundation of everything that's of value to you. So whatever you choose to do is so very, very important. Now, why am I bringing this up today? Because for the last 5, 6 weeks or so, 7 weeks, a lot of us have had some idle time. A lot of us have had opportunities to sit around, to think about things. I see a lot of messages, people talking about back then when they were doing this, back then when this happened the other day, this is what's going on right now, and it's idle time. And so however you look at idle time, I just say to you, don't let that idle time take you off of your path to what you were trying to do and accomplish going forward. Now, why do I say that? Because life as we knew it before is going to be drastically changed moving forward. It really is going to be drastically changed moving forward. And you have to right now decide on what that looks like and also make a plan on what your normal is going to look like going forward. So I usually ask people for comments, concerns, things you want me to talk about, and I have to address two perspectives because I had two messages. One from a good friend, um, Terry Roberts, to call it twin, and Terry said when I put up the topic, indeed, and so I understand because Terry does practice her faith faithfully. Okay. And so that's what we've been told, that the idle time is the devil's playground. And so you have to be understanding in how people respond. Now, I had another friend who I grew up with, Carl, who said that meditation, idle time is meditation. Well, my opinion of what meditation is that meditation is the soul being still and the mind working, because what it does during meditation, and let me not take it from an opinion, let me take it from my own perspective. What I do my meditation every morning. Now, my mind is not idle. My mind is definitely in a place where I can receive any messages or any blessings that are bestowed upon me. Now, whatever that means for you, it means for you. But I want you to understand that things in people's life are not by mistake. And so you may think that you've been you have shortcomings, you have been misled, you have been mistreated, you have been misdirected, but you also must look at your choices. What have you done in your life to receive those particular things in your current situation that you're responsible for? I hear so many people talking about, oh my God, I deserve more. But again, it goes back to my saying, you can't withdraw what you did not deposit. And so the one thing for me is as I gotten older, I've changed. I had to change because I know a lot of situations that I was in personally were because of my actions, not because of anyone else, because I have the power of choice. I have the power of choice. You have the power of choice. And if you believe that somebody else is responsible for your outcomes, then guess what? You're nothing but a puppet because you've been, led by strings attached to your outer surface, your outer extremities. You've had strings attached to your internal brain power, because if you believe that anybody's situation is not by their choices, then you need to stop and make that idle time a playground for which you can advance your own decisions on what you've achieved based on your choices. And so, one of the greatest commodities that we have in this world is time. It's the greatest commodity. One thing you'll never be able to get back is time. And if you waste your time, then what happens is that you have to accept what the outcomes are for you wasting that particular time. This is a perfect time for us to sit down and for us to start planning massive action plans. You have to start designing massive action plans. Now, I talk to people when they say, well, idle time. What does idle time mean? Well, make it very simple. You ever get in your car when I know I learned first how to drive? My father used to tell me, go out there and start the car. So when I went out there and started the car, the first thing I said, nobody's going to take the car? He said, no, leave the keys in the car and let the car just idle. And so what the car was doing while it was idle, and it was completing the cycle for it to be able to go somewhere. But the idle meant that the car was just sitting there. It wasn't moving. It had no action. It had no progression. It had no movement. It was just sitting there. And so the car may have been getting warmed up for you to go and get in it, but the car was just sitting there, right? One of the other things that I really and truly want to address is no matter how you address your idleness, your idleness, you will never ever see it or make time to be useful or monumental unless your idleness has some type of massive action moving forward, some massive action of momentum moving forward. Because the idle time, no matter how you look at it from whatever perspective you see it, if you see it from a religious perspective and you believe that there is a God and that there is a devil and that idle time is the devil's playground, then you have to reverse that thought process to make sure that your idle time is massive plan of action. And so it will help you to develop your playground of productivity, movement, and establishing what your destiny will be. That dash we talk about all the time, your legacy. What will your legacy look like? What will your dash look like? What will people say about you when your time has expired? And so, as we move forward through this, I just want to tell people, listen, uh, I am just a messenger. And I appreciate those who respect what I say. I appreciate those who question what I say. But the bottom line is that we are all responsible for our outcomes. We are all responsible for the choices that we've made, either early in our life, in our midlife, or in our current life, because what those choices have made will determine where you're going. And if you're sitting around feeling sorry for yourself and for your predicament and the place you're in right now, it has nothing to do with anybody else but your choices. And it also has to do with the choices of the people you chose to be around. You know, I tell people all the time, if I go into an establishment, and I'm going to use something very drastic. If I go into a crack house to save some people and I continue to stay in that crack house, there's only two options that's going to happen. Everybody in that crack house is either going to become me or eventually I will become a crackhead. I hate using that word because I understand that the drug does make people very sick and very few people can escape that life. But those two things happen. We make life as human beings so difficult that we try to always put the blame of our outcomes on other people. It's not, it's you. It's where you are in your life. What you have deposited is the only thing you can withdraw. Last point I like to make. There's so many people out here who have called me about the stimulus check. So many people are concerned about this stimulus check. The stimulus check keeps you idle. The stimulus check is the thing that so many people are waiting for, and so many people are not being productive because all you're waiting on is that 1,200 or whatever amount that you may be getting dropped in your bank account for you to think that you're going to be productive. But let me tell you something. By the time you get that 1,200, or if you just receive that 1,200, you should be so far behind that 1,200 to be gone by the end of the week because you still have some obligations that you need to take care of. So on the other side, that 1,200 is just a loan to your total income in 2020. Please believe that. Don't think the government loves you that much that they would give you $1,200 just to keep you feeling secure about yourself. Because if they felt secure and felt that confident about you, then they would have addressed this pandemic when it first hit the market. That's just Rory T. Edwards' opinion. Don't let the 1,200 make you idle. You use that 1,200 or you plan with that 1,200 so that when you get it, you have a massive plan of action to utilize that 1,200 to advance your massive plan of action. I'm sorry it took so long today, but I had to drop some of these gems on you. Hopefully you feel good about what I said. Hopefully you'll be able to share it. Hopefully you'll get in touch with me because what we're trying to do is build a massive plan of action moving forward to help people in their wellness, in their development, in their plans that can make their life in the new normal very productive. It's your man, Rory T. Edwards. Send me an email, rorytedwards1 at gmail.com. Once again, Rory T. Edwards1 at gmail.com, or go to my website. Let's make some things happen. www.rorytedwards.com. Once again, www.rorytedwards.com. Look for my announcement coming soon. We're going to do a Zoom thing if you have children and athletes who are being idle right now. We're going to get them moving. That's what we're talking about. Like to say what's going on to my homegirl, Nikki, Monique Rice. What's happening, sister? Thank you very much for joining. Sorry it took so late. When we get mature, we can't concentrate on the side too much because we'll lose focus. But As you know me, I'm never gonna lose focus. I'm gonna keep focus on the goal. Keep focus on the plan. I want you all to understand. Don't stay idle. Put that car in reverse, get up out of there and put that car in drive and make it happen. Make your plan of action massive. This your man Rory T. Edwards letting you know the revolution will not be televised.